Welcome back, you guys. Pretty interesting build video here tonight. Wanted to kind of just quickly take you through that. We've got some new services we haven't done before. We have some existing services we've done on some other model slides that we're going to finally be doing on the Taurus G3. Before we jump into that, let's give a little bit of thanks here for the customer that provided the work for us, that keeps us running in this odd time that we have going on in our country right now. And then, of course, he goes above and beyond and ends up sending us an item. So we have a 234th. What this is a birthday ball coin that came through. It's a Marines based coin. Very, very cool. Awesome little piece here. Super grateful that you guys have the opportunity to provide us with something for the build videos. Obviously, it shows us a little bit more about the character of the individual sending it in. And of course, we'll also be putting in some of the pictures in the end. We're gonna have the opportunity to show that a little bit better. So thank you, customer, for that. Guys, let's jump back into the slide work. So some of the stuff we've seen, some of the stuff we have not seen. So Taurus G3 hasn't been out a super long time. We do get a lot of requests for what can we do, what can we not do. We've obviously turned out a couple of build videos. One of the requests that we had on this particular G3 is the top wave. So this happens to be a slide that's a lot closer in size to what would be a G19 versus what we see with like the Taurus G2C. So we've got a little bit more room to work with. We also have a little bit more of a challenge because we've got some serrations that are on here, some things like that. So let's kind of just review it real quick. Top wave cut, we're gonna be able to see some nice barrel. Gonna make sure we stay away from the front sight hole far enough to where that sight won't protrude over and into the design. So really looking forward to seeing how much barrel we can actually see, because we will be doing a polished barrel, which has also been provided here. So we're gonna polish that barrel. We'll put that in at the end. That's the goal here. How much of the barrel can we see? What visualization are we actually getting off of that? So one of the new things that we have not done before is we have had a couple requests actually over the last couple of months of doing a sight mark optic. Now, typically we don't do these. It's not that we're against them, it just happens to be that it doesn't hit extremely high on the chart versus, say, the Vortex Venom, the Viper, the Burris, the Trichcon, the Howson. So we just don't get a lot of requests for this particular model, or we don't see quite as many requests for this particular model. This is your SM26043 model. So I've done us the liberty of saving a little bit of time and removed it from the package. Now, one of the things that you're going to notice is it's very, very similar to what is the Vortex Viper. Straight front, straight back. We see that on the Viper. Couple of different changes. We don't have the screws on the back that we would normally see on the Viper. We have got some buttons on the left and right side for up and down to actually adjust the brightness. So it's not an exact clone one-to-one, so much in fact that it's not the same socket. Okay, so I want to make sure that you guys are well aware of that. This will be going on the back of the slide like such, but it has to be a new cut pattern because it doesn't just fit the existing Vortex Viper socket. It is its own footprint. It doesn't cross-reference into any of the other ones that are out there. So a little bit more challenging there as we have to design a new footprint for that and make sure that everything works accordingly. The advantage to that is can be put on anything once we have that footprint. So I think it's an advantage for the customer to be able to use an optic that he may have already had and has provided, and it's an advantage for us to be able to offer a new service. So nonetheless, real pleased. Optic in the back, lose the factory dovetail. New front of optic Glock style dovetail. We will be installing these. We'll also be opening the front hole for the Glock iron sight as well. So one of the big advantages is once the dovetail in the front sight hole has been opened, it gives you a magnitude, large range of opportunity of what size sights do we want to put in there. Now keep in mind, you know, we have to use a certain height sight in order to work with the optic, because the optic can only be cut so low before we get into where the firing pin channel is down in there. But nonetheless, it does give us a wide range of opportunity to change things up. We don't like this. We want to go with night sights. We want to go with only a front night sight, not a rear. So there's lots of different options there. Guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to jump over to the Tormach. We're going to end up doing that top wave first. Let's get that cranked out. Then we're going to jump right straight into the sight mark optic cut dovetail, because then we can align those together. We're going to move over to the laser system. We will be punching that hole in the front with the laser to get us the best accuracy we possibly can. At that point, everything goes through a cleanup process on my end, gets cleaned, gets colored, reassembled. I'll bring it back. We'll see exactly how it came out in the end with the barrel. I think it's going to be overall really cool project. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, let's take a look and see exactly how this came out in the end as a final product. Really loving this build overall. I think it's a extremely nice flowing design. Optic cut, removing that factory dovetail, relocating a set of Glock iron sights for the front and for in front of the optic. Really nice there. Top wave cut. Of course, we ended up going back to what is more of our matte black. We're probably getting a lot of reflection off of the light at the angle that it is. Obviously, we'll add some pictures. I'll take a little bit of a video outside under some natural light, giving it just a little bit more of an actual picture, you know, kind of just painting that picture a little bit better. But no doubt, this is a really nice flowing design. So, you know, you guys have obviously seen us do the wave cut on other slides, as we've discussed before. We've done some Glocks, we've done some CZs. We've also done a G2C, but you know, you never really know what it's going to look like and how it's going to look and how it's going to play out and how is that flow going to work with what's already there. So happens to be that on the G3 we have front serrations on left and right side, and what that always means is what's it going to look like? How's it going to blend? How's it going to flow? How's it going to interrupt the existing pattern from the manufacturer because we're adding something to it? One of the other things that you're going to notice is that we ended up moving the top serrations just a little bit back. They're spaced a little bit further apart. They have a little bit more what I would call aggression to them because they have a little bit more of a bold wall. There's a little bit more of a protrudingness to them. So I like the pattern how it was before. On some of our older videos, you see a nice tight pattern that's on there, but nonetheless, I think changing it, you know, it's one of those things that over time I adjust things. I say, hey, it could be a little thicker, could be spaced a little bit more, could have a little bit more curve here, could have a little bit more depth there. And ultimately, I think that this is the perfect setup. I think this is what we're going to probably stick with. One of the other things I want to talk about real quick here is that I ended up taking a little bit of extra time in ironing out the details of the iron sights with the optic. Now, what that means is on the G3, we have the ability to cut a little bit lower before we end up hitting the firing pin channel. What that means is on the G2C, you guys will see that we've used slightly taller iron sights in the past. I think we're still going to end up seeing that on the G2C, but on the G3 model, this front and this rear is basically just a standard height sight from Glock or Ameriglow. You know, any of the other vendors, obviously Trijicon makes them. There's a lot of different ones out there, but it's a standard height Glock sight, I guess is the best way to say that. So if you know, shopping around, picking what you want, having the ability now seems a little bit more open. It gives you a little bit more freedom. If I want night sights, I only want a front night, or I only want a back night, or whatever the case is. Because now that we've kind of standardized on just the standard height sight for the suppressor sights, instead of going with a little bit taller one limiting us. So ultimately, I think it's a good choice. We ended up doing a polish on the barrel. Once again, we will add some pictures. Let's drop this guy into here. Let's take a look at that. Now that is a really clean, I know you guys are seeing some fingerprints on here. This is a really clean look. Once again, pictures outside externally are going to definitely show this significantly better than what we have here. Guys, one of the things I would recommend you do is share the content. If you happen to like the content, if you have a buddy that's a Taurus guy, or have seen something else on our channel that you really like, share the content, pass it around. Feel free to go onto our Facebook. Leave a review. If you've had service done and you haven't left a review, and you do have a Facebook account, we do have a review section on our Facebook account. It does help other people make good choices on what they want to have done. They get actual feedback from the actual people having something done. So it's a little bit different than us just, you know, getting comments in a comment section on our Instagram, or us, you know, getting comments on, say, a YouTube video. The review section is really where it's at, and that really does allow newcomers to figure out what they want to have done, how satisfied people were, quick turnaround time, and things like that. So there's a lot of stuff on there. Obviously, if you haven't been on our Instagram, then you're missing out. There's a ton of stuff on Instagram. If you want to still see the Instagram stuff, you can certainly go to our webpage. We do have a link at the bottom of every one of our pages to our Instagram account. You don't have to have an account in order to view our stuff. It's not locked or anything like that, so you're able to go right on there. Really good opportunity, I think, to see exactly what it is that we do offer. A lot of the big build stuff like this, some of the new stuff, you will see, obviously, on YouTube. But we do find ourselves doing, you know, just top waves with no other services, or just optic cuts with no other services. We do see a lot of that stuff posted over onto our Instagram, so it's a good opportunity to see stuff that maybe you wouldn't typically see if you're just waiting for a video to come out. So guys, if you happen to have any questions, feel free to use the contact tab from the webpage. We have been absolutely crazy busy. If you do try to get a hold of me by text, it's going to be hard. We do process orders by email, so keep that in mind. that is in the end, that's where you're going to end up being, is back to your email, because that's where we're going to invoice you. That's where we're going to keep track of all the details of your order. So it's if you want to start there, it's actually the quickest place to go, is just to shoot us an email. So if you guys need anything, just let me know, and we'll keep cranking out this unique stuff, and we'll see what we come up with.